Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Assemble. My name is High Ruler, and in the midst of the info drop with Avengers and the speculation beginning to run rampant with Guardians, there was an interesting rumor that made the rounds. The rumor is that Firaxis is making a Marvel-based game. For those who don't know, Firaxis is the developer of the popular XCOM series as well as the Civilization series, with them being headed by Sid Meier himself, who many would consider a legend within the video game community. So now, let's break down what XCOM is and why this could be a really cool and unique experience for Marvel fans who have never actually played an XCOM game before. So XCOM is a turn-based strategy game in which you're commanding a squad of soldiers through procedurally generated maps. The whole gameplay idea is that you are the resistance force to an occupying alien invasion, and you're basically there to fight them back and to run them off the planet. So in terms of the gameplay itself, your squad is made up of character classes, these being soldier, grenadier, specialist, sharpshooter, and later on the Psi operative. Each of these units have their own abilities and weapons for them to use in order for the player to strategize the best way to approach each mission, which has various objectives. These could be rescuing a hostage, killing everyone in the mission, or just simply completing an objective by planting a bomb. There's many different objectives across many different procedurally generated maps, which provides a level of replayability to the player on every playthrough, whether it's going through the same mission once or playing it on multiple runs through the full game again. One of the more interesting mechanics as part of the XCOM series is the permanent death mechanic, which means that once your soldier dies, they're gone for good. Now, personally, while I like a mechanic like this because it enables players to have some consequence to their actions, I'm not sure whether a mechanic like this would work with the game, the Marvel game. Now, there's two ideas I'm going to present to you, and one of those ideas, well, the death mechanic could work, but for the second, I don't think it could. But with that being said, regardless, having a mechanic at play that's a level of consequence to your actions, whether that's taking the character out of the rotation for a few missions, or whether you can't use the character at all for this current run, I think there's something there that allows players to explore not only just unique team compositions, but actually be punished for mistakes within the game itself. Now, a change like this, having your character kind of taken out of the game for a while, that can obviously be changed with different difficulties and different settings, but I think having a mechanic at play that has a level of consequence to it really gives players a sense of, what do I do? How do I do this? What's the best way to go forward? Instead of what could be just kind of like a run-of-the-mill, try to rush through everything and get as many kills as possible. I think having a game that is based off of a popular series that has a very popular mechanic that punishes players, I think it would be a mistake not to incorporate that in some way, even if it's not permanent due to the IP and the nature of the characters themselves. In my opinion, XCOM is one of those games that looks very easy to pick up, but is very deep in the way you play it. It's a game that makes you think, that makes you plan ahead and strategize because of the consequences to your actions. We've seen many XCOM spin-offs already, made by other studios. These have been such things as Gears Tactics, Mario and Rabbids, and Transformers Battlegrounds, each doing something a little bit different and tinkering with the genre in its own way to varying degrees of success. This is why, to me, a Marvel game in this genre makes perfect sense, and I'm happy to see the Firaxis is the one in charge. They pioneered the genre and dominated it, so it makes sense that they get to do their own take with the Marvel IP at this point. One of the most popular IPs in the world being paired up with a strategy game developer can only mean good things, in my opinion. I think what they have here is very well on the lines of a smash hit, and probably is a game that Marvel fans didn't know they wanted until probably they see it, and then until they play it. But with that being said, let's go into two possible ideas that I have for the way this game can actually form. So the first way I see this game going is basically XCOM but with Marvel, and that is shield and sword, right? When you think about shield, they're pretty much already in XCOM, right? You just have to basically give it a coat of Marvel paint, and then there you go, right? Now for me, this would probably be the easiest way to go down, right? You replace all the classes with Marvel variants, with shield variants, different shield agents with different guns, different abilities, and right there is probably the easiest way to do it. Now, this is probably one of the more blander options, but to me, if they want to keep it a little more grounded without throwing every superhero at you, this probably is one of the ways to do it, right? Imagine you have different shield agents, each of them have their own weapons, different abilities, things that they can do, and because of that, you get up against Hydra, AIM, different alien races. You're basically taking the XCOM fundamentals and giving it the Marvel love, and there you go. Now, this probably isn't what most fans want, but to me, this probably makes the most sense if we're not going too crazy and not going too heavy. Now, on top of this, you can also tie in different superheroes, right? Quake, Mockingbird, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and I think this is a pretty even split between like going crazy with your superheroes and being very bland with your shield agents. I think this allows to have a little bit of that superhero and that superheroism while also making sure that, you're not running around with 4 different OP superheroes and having to try to come up with different missions to kind of, negate those heroes, right? One of the cool things about XCOM is that they are just kind of regular people going against these aliens, and there is that threat of dying. Now, as I said earlier, one of these ideas, that death mechanic, could still be in play, whereas the other one, which is the superheroes, and you can't really just kill off Spider-Man, right? That wouldn't be in play for there. Well, let's go with the other idea. The other idea is the one where it goes totally off the rails, with you commanding a squad of superheroes that are able to assemble from across many different teams, which is what I think many fans will want when they're approached with the 2 ideas. They would want a team of Iron Man, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Daredevil together, because that to them would be the shining crown jewel of this kind of gameplay and focus. They want superheroes to go together. They want to do different abilities. One of the more interesting things is that being able to kind of move your superheroes around almost like a chessboard, and then having those superheroes kind of do different things, attack different enemies, and get different gameplay bonuses based on the environment and the maps that they're in. I think that lends itself very well, and I think that would probably be the best idea they could go with if that is what they are doing. Now, here's the thing. When you introduce superheroes into a strategy game like this, you also have to include supervillains. You don't want to do a team of Iron Man, Wolverine, Daredevil, and Spider-Man and have them go against AIM grunts for the whole time or Hydra grunts for the whole time. At that point, you need to include supervillains that really test the might of your team and test your ability to strategize and come up with a game plan that's going to get you through these levels. Supervillains with different abilities, different things that they can do, really would allow this game to take off in many ways that the others couldn't. So for me, it definitely goes 2 ways. Do you want to go into the crazy superhero-ness, the OP-ness, and then try to come up with a bunch of different enemies, villains to kind of match that? Or do you want to go with the kind of bland but reliable, based on what XCOM already is, kind of formula that they've perfected at this point? In the grand scheme of things, I hope we do see a renaissance of the strategy genre. When I look at games like Gears Tactics, when I look at games like Mario and Rabbids, XCOM, now this one, or even games Civilization, StarCraft, for me, strategy games represent a whole different ballgame than what we're currently getting with a lot of the games right now. When I look at what a lot of the games are being offered nowadays, it's all about the action, it's all about being mechanical. But honestly, I think what games are missing nowadays, in some regards, are the mental aspect to it, which is why I think strategy games like this should start popping up more and more. I think strategy games offer a unique perspective on gaming in general. I think combining it with one of the biggest IPs in the whole world, I think offers many new fans a different experience that they haven't been offered before, especially if you're just someone who plays Marvel games. I think when you look at a situation like this, and you have to figure out, the best combination of characters, abilities, and tactics to take on enemies that are changing, maps that could be procedurally generated, maps that could change over the course of your play span. I think there's a potential here that many Marvel fans may not realize, and that this game could be a very different game than anything they've played that has a Marvel name attached to it, and probably anything they'll ever play again that would have a Marvel name attached to it. In a lot of ways, I think this is a big deal regardless of what we're getting, because it shows that Marvel is open to different game experiences than what we've been getting in recent times. We've seen Marvel have titles in the open world RPG space, which are the Spider-Man games, a games as a service loot brawler, Avengers, a VR title, Iron Man, and LEGO titles in the most recent Marvel vs. Capcom entry. And now Marvel is kind of branching into a subgenre, which isn't that popular right now, but has a few entries here and there, and it's a genre that is very closely followed by the diehard fans. Now, what I like to think this means is that Marvel is open to new experiences, new genres, and different developers who are offering new gameplay experiences to people who may not even know about them. What I hope this does is that it opens up both Marvel's eyes to different developers who are offering these unique takes on their characters, as well as fans who may have never even played an XCOM game before, or may have seen Mario and Rabbids and thought, oh, that doesn't look good. And now they're going to see this and pick this up and be like, wow, this was a really great experience. So for me, while I look at the Avengers stuff and the Guardian stuff and I'm super excited, I'm more excited about the potential of this game, and not only the potential of this game, but what it could do to the genre, as well as what it could do to Marvel fans, and providing them a great new experience that many have never played before. And that's why I'm personally excited for this game, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Are you guys excited for this kind of game? Have you never played XCOM before? Leave a comment down below, and I'd love to hear more from you guys. This presentation will be happening June 14th. That is the Monday. I will be covering that as much as I can if I'm not back at work. But with that being said, guys, obviously, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time here on Assemble. Later.